The fluorescent lights of the convenience store buzzed like angry wasps above my head, casting a sickly yellow glow over the rows of overpriced cereal boxes and canned goods. My shift had started at 6 a.m, and now, 12 hours later, my feet throbbed in my worn sneakers, the ones with the hole in the left sole that let in every puddle, every drop of rain. I could feel the dampness seeping through my sock, cold and unforgiving, matching the hollow ache that had taken permanent residence in my chest. "Mommy's coming home soon," I'd whispered to Lily and Tommy this morning, their small faces pressed against Mrs. Chen's apartment window as I left for work. Lily, 5 years old with her father's dark eyes, had waved with her tiny hand. Tommy, barely 3, had simply stared, his thumb in his mouth, already forgetting what it felt like to have me home. The electronic chime above the door rang, and I looked up from the register I'd been mindlessly wiping. The smell hit me first, expensive cologne, something dark and woody with hints of leather and smoke, so out of place in this cramped store that reeked of cleaning chemicals and stale coffee. Then I saw him. He moved like water, fluid and purposeful, his black suit so perfectly tailored it looked like it had been painted onto his broad shoulders. 2 men flanked him, massive figures in similar dark attire, their eyes constantly scanning, hands resting near their jackets in a way that made my stomach twist. I'd lived in this neighborhood long enough to recognize danger when I saw it. But it was him, the one in the center, who made my breath catch. He wasn't handsome in any conventional way. His face was all sharp angles and hard lines, a jaw that could cut glass, and eyes so dark they seemed to swallow light, a thin scar traced from his left eyebrow to his cheekbone, silvery against his olive skin. He couldn't have been more than 35, but there was something ancient in his gaze, something that spoke of violence and power and absolute control. I dropped my eyes immediately, my survival instincts kicking in. Don't stare. Don't engage. Don't exist. "Coffee," he said, his voice like gravel wrapped in silk, carrying an accent I couldn't quite place. Italian, maybe. Or Greek. Black. Hot. Yes, sir." My hands trembled as I grabbed a paper cup, moving to the ancient coffee maker in the corner. The pot was nearly empty, the liquid inside thick and burnt from sitting on the warmer all day. "I'm sorry. This batch is old. I can make fresh if you..." "That's fine." I poured carefully, hyper-aware of his presence behind me, the way the air seemed to thicken with him in it. The 2 guards had positioned themselves by the door and the far aisle, boxing me in. My pulse hammered in my throat. When I turned back, he was closer than I'd expected, standing right at the counter, and I nearly dropped the cup. Some of the scalding liquid sloshed over the rim, burning my thumb. I bit back a gasp, setting the cup down quickly. "Careful," he murmured, and there was something almost gentle in his tone, so at odds with everything else about him. His eyes dropped to my hand, where a red mark was already forming. "You're hurt." "It's nothing." "That'll be $2.50. He pulled out a money clip, actual cash, crisp $100 bills, and my throat went dry. People in this neighborhood didn't carry that kind of money. People who carried that kind of money didn't shop at convenience stores in the bad part of town at 6 p.m. He handed me $100. Our fingers didn't touch, but I felt the heat of him anyway, radiating like a furnace. "I don't have change for this," I said, hating how small my voice sounded. "The register doesn't..." "Keep it." My pride wanted me to refuse, but pride didn't feed my children. Pride didn't pay the rent that was 2 months overdue. Pride didn't keep the electricity from being shut off next week. "Thank you," I whispered, and hated myself for it. He studied me with an intensity that made my skin prickle, taking in my faded uniform shirt with someone else's name tag still pinned to it, my pulled-back hair that hadn't seen a proper cut in over a year, the dark circles under my eyes that no amount of concealer could hide anymore. "You work here often?" he asked, lifting the coffee cup, but not drinking. "Every day." The words came out before I could stop them, exhaustion making me honest. Double shifts, usually. Something flickered across his face. Interest, maybe, or calculation. That's a lot of hours. I have children. Again, why was I telling him this? But there was something about his stillness, the way he listened like my words actually mattered, that loosened my tongue. too. They need... I cut myself off, suddenly aware of how pathetic I sounded. This man, whoever he was, didn't care about my problems. Rich people never did. Where's their father? The question was casual, but his eyes had sharpened, fixed on me like a predator spotting prey. Gone. The word tasted bitter. He left when I was pregnant with my son. Found a better offer, I guess. The man's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. One of his guards shifted, and he made the slightest gesture with his hand. Stay, without even looking. A better offer, he repeated slowly, as if testing the words. Then his own children? Then the burden of us. I laughed, but it came out broken. Look, I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. You probably have somewhere important to be. He took a sip of the terrible coffee, his eyes never leaving mine over the rim of the cup. When he lowered it, something had changed in his expression, hardened into a decision I couldn't read. What's your name? Every instinct screamed at me not to answer, but those eyes held me captive. Emma Hayes. Emma. He said it like he was memorizing it, filing it away. I'm Dante. Just a first name. No last name offered, which somehow made him even more dangerous. People who only used first names either had nothing to hide or everything to hide, and I knew which category he fell into. It's nice to meet you, I lied. Because what else could I say? He smiled then, slow and predatory, and I felt it in my bones. Is it? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out with shaking hands, my heart sinking as I saw Mrs. Chen's number. She never called unless... I have to take this, I said, already pressing answer. Hello? Emma, I'm so sorry. Mrs. Chen's voice was strained, apologetic. My daughter just called. Her water broke. The baby's coming early. I have to go to her. I'm already packing. No, it's okay. I understand. Congratulations. I tried to keep my voice steady even as panic clawed up my throat. I'll figure something out. The children are watching TV. I left dinner in the fridge. I'm so sorry, honey. I know you're working. It's fine. Thank you, Mrs. Chen. Really. Give your daughter my best. I hung up and stared at the phone, my mind racing. My shift didn't end for another 4 hours. I had no one else to call, no other neighbors I trusted, no family within 500 miles. The manager would fire me if I left early again. He'd already warned me twice. Problem? Dante's voice cut through my spiraling thoughts. I'd forgotten he was still there, watching me with those two knowing eyes. My babysitter had to leave, emergency with her daughter. I shoved the phone back in my pocket, blinking rapidly against the burning in my eyes. I would not cry. Not here. Not in front of him. But it's fine. The kids are old enough to be alone for a few hours. Lily's very responsible for 5. The lie tasted like ash, but what choice did I have? 5 years old. His voice had gone very quiet, very dangerous. You're going to leave a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old alone in this neighborhood for 4 hours? Heat flushed my cheeks. I don't have a choice. I need this job. If I lose this job, we lose our apartment. If we lose our apartment? My voice cracked, and I pressed my lips together hard. He set down the coffee cup with deliberate care. Where do you live? Why? Suspicion finally overtook desperation. Because I'm going to send someone to watch them until your shift ends. I almost laughed. You're going to send a stranger to watch my children? Do I look that stupid? You look exhausted, desperate, alone. Each word was a knife, precise and cutting, and I'm offering help. Nothing's free, especially not from men like you. His eyebrow rose. Men like me. Dangerous men. Powerful men. Men who walk into convenience stores with bodyguards and $100 bills. I crossed my arms over my chest, trying to make myself bigger, stronger. I don't know what you want, but I promise you, I can't afford it. He moved then, just a single step closer, and suddenly the counter between us felt meaningless. His presence filled the space, suffocating and inescapable. What if I said I wanted nothing? His voice dropped lower, intimate. What if I just wanted to help a mother who clearly needs it? Then I'd say you're a liar. He smiled again. and this time it reached his eyes, warming them by a single degree. Smart girl. Yes, I want something. But not what you're thinking. Then what? I don't know yet. He pulled out a business card, black with only a phone number embossed in silver, and laid it on the counter between us. But when I figure it out, I'll let you know. Until then, take my help. My word is absolute. Your children will be safe. I stared at the card like it might bite me. I don't even know you. You know enough. You know I could buy this entire store, this entire block, without blinking. You know my men are armed. You know I'm the kind of dangerous your mother probably warned you about. He leaned in, just slightly, and I caught that scent again. Smoke and leather and money, and you know you have no other choice. My hands clenched at my sides. He was right. Damn him. He was absolutely right. Fine, I whispered. But if anything happens to them, nothing will happen to them. I give you my word. He straightened, pulling out his phone, speaking rapid Italian to someone on the other end. When he hung up, he looked at me with something almost like approval. Marco will be there in 15 minutes. Former nanny, actually. He raised his sister's 4 children. Address? I gave it to him, each number feeling like I was signing away something precious. Good. He picked up his coffee. I'll see you soon, Emma Hayes. Then he was gone, his guards moving like shadows behind him, and the store felt cavernously empty without him. I looked down at the black card on the counter, at the $100 bill still sitting in my register, and wondered what I'd just done. My phone buzzed. An unknown number. Marco is outside your building, green jacket. Let your daughter look out the window to confirm before opening the door. He'll stay until you get home. No charge. No strings. D. I called Lily immediately, my hands shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. Mommy! Her sweet voice made my chest ache. Baby, listen carefully. There's a nice man in a green jacket outside Mrs. Chen's door. His name is Marco. He's going to stay with you and Tommy until Mommy gets home, okay? But you said never open the door to strangers. I know, sweetheart. But this is different. This man is a friend. A friend sent him. Can you look out the window and tell me what you see? A pause. I see him. He's waving. He has a big smile. My throat closed up. Okay. Let him in. Do everything he says. Mommy will be home as soon as she can. Okay, Mommy. I love you. I love you too, baby. So much. I hung up and stared at that black card again. What had I just invited into our lives? Marco stayed for 3 weeks, not just that first night, though that night alone had been enough to shake my entire world. I'd come home at 10:30, my feet bleeding in my shoes, expecting to find my children traumatized or worse. Instead, I'd found them bathed, in clean pajamas, with full bellies and bright eyes. The apartment smelled like actual food, pasta with homemade sauce, and Tommy was curled up in Marco's lap, half asleep, while Lily showed him her drawings. Mrs. Hayes, Marco had said, standing when I entered, carefully transferring Tommy to the couch. He was in his 50s, gray-haired and gentle-eyed, with the build of someone who'd once been a fighter, but had softened with time. Beautiful children, very well behaved. I'd been too stunned to correct him about the misses. Thank you. I don't know how to... No need. He'd smiled, the corners of his eyes crinkling. Mr. Moretti asked me to help, so I help. I'll be back tomorrow. Same time? Tomorrow? My voice had come out strangled. I can't afford... Already paid for. 3 weeks, every day. Mr. Moretti was very clear. He'd put on his coat. That green jacket I'd now recognize anywhere. He takes care of his people. I'm not his people. Marco's smile had turned knowing. Not yet, maybe. But Mr. Moretti, he sees things, knows things. When he decides something, he'd shrugged. Better not to fight it. Good night, Mrs. Hayes. And he'd left me standing in my clean apartment, my fed children, with 1,000 questions and no answers. The black card stayed in my pocket. I carried it everywhere, feeling its weight like a promise or a threat. I couldn't decide which. 3 weeks of Marco meant 3 weeks of actually sleeping more than 4 hours a night. 3 weeks of coming home to dinner already made, homework already done, children already tucked in, 3 weeks of not feeling like I was drowning. 3 weeks of waiting for Dante Moretti to collect his debt. He came on a Tuesday. I was restocking shelves in the back of the store, my arms aching from lifting boxes, when I felt it. That electric charge in the air that meant he was near. I turned, and there he was, leaning against the end cap display of potato chips, watching me with those bottomless dark eyes. He wore charcoal today, the suit just as perfectly tailored, but no guards that I could see. That somehow made him more dangerous, not less. A man like him walking around alone meant he didn't need protection. He was the danger. Emma. My name in his mouth sounded different than it did in anyone else's. Possession, maybe. Or promise. You look better. I set down the can of soup I'd been holding. Marco told me you paid for 3 weeks. Did he? Dante stepped closer, and I forced myself not to retreat. And are you sleeping better? Eating better? Why are you doing this? I asked you a question first. I swallowed hard. Yes. We're better. Thank you. Good. He reached out, and I flinched before I could stop myself. He paused, his hand hovering near my face, then very gently tucked a strand of hair that had escaped my ponytail behind my ear. His fingers were warm, calloused. You're very pretty when you're not exhausted. Heat flooded my cheeks. Mr. Moretti. Dante. Dante, I corrected, hating how breathless I sounded. What do you want from me? He smiled that predator's smile. Have dinner with me. Of all the things I'd expected, that wasn't it. What? Dinner tomorrow night. I'll send a car at 7. I work tomorrow night. Not anymore. I bought your shifts for the next month. The words took a moment to register. When they did, anger sparked hot in my chest. You what? I paid your manager a very generous sum to give you the next month off. With full pay, of course. Actually, double pay. He said it so casually, like he was discussing the weather, not completely upending my life. You need rest. You need time with your children. And I need you to have dinner with me. You can't just... I sputtered, my hands clenching into fists. You can't just buy my life. I can buy anything I want, Emma, including your time. He leaned in, close enough that I could see the gold flecks in his dark eyes. But I'd prefer you give it to me willingly. One dinner. That's all I'm asking. And if I say no, then you say no. The month off is yours regardless. Marco will continue watching the children. No strings. He straightened, adjusting his cufflinks with deliberate precision. But I think you're curious. I think you want to know why a man like me is interested in a woman like you. I think you've been wondering for 3 weeks. He was right, damn him. I had been wondering, lying awake in my actually comfortable bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out what game he was playing. One dinner, I heard myself say, and then you leave us alone. His smile widened. If that's what you want after dinner, then yes. I'll leave you alone. The way he said it made me think he knew something I didn't. Fine. 7 o'clock. Wear something nice. I'm taking you somewhere special. He started to leave, then paused. Oh, and Emma. Marco will stay with the children. They'll be perfectly safe. How did you know I was going to worry about that? Because you're a good mother. It's one of the things I like about you. His eyes traveled over me slowly, deliberately, one of many things. Then he was gone, and I was left trembling in the middle of the store, wondering what I'd just agreed to. The car that arrived at 6:50 the next evening wasn't a car. It was a sleek black SUV with tinted windows and a driver who looked like he could snap me in half without breaking a sweat. He opened the back door with a polite nod, and I climbed in on shaking legs, clutching my cheap purse like a lifeline. I'd spent an hour agonizing over what to wear. My nicest dress was a simple black number I'd worn to a funeral 2 years ago, the hemline falling just below my knees, the neckline modest. I'd put on the only pair of heels I owned, borrowed mascara and lipstick from the girl who lived down the hall, and pulled my hair into a low bun. Looking at my reflection, I'd seen a stranger. Someone almost pretty, almost put together, almost good enough. The SUV drove for 20 minutes, leaving my neighborhood far behind, entering a part of the city I'd only seen in magazines. High-rises gleamed against the darkening sky. Restaurants with names I couldn't pronounce lined the streets. Women in designer dresses walked past on the arms of men in $1,000 suits. We pulled up to a building made entirely of glass and steel, modern and imposing. A valet immediately appeared to open my door. "Miss Hayes," he said, like he'd been expecting me. "Mr. Moretti is waiting on the top floor." The lobby was all marble and gold, with a massive chandelier that probably cost more than I'd make in 5 lifetimes. A private elevator took me up, 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 my stomach dropping with each floor. The doors opened directly into a restaurant. No, not a restaurant. A single table sat in the center of a room surrounded by floor-to-ceiling windows, overlooking the entire city. Candles flickered. Soft music played, and Dante stood by the window, his back to me, hands in his pockets. He turned when he heard the elevator, and something in his expression made my breath catch. Hunger. Raw and undisguised. "Emma?" He moved toward me, and I noticed he'd foregone the suit jacket. His white shirt rolled up to his elbows, revealing muscled forearms marked with scars. "You're beautiful. This is..." I gestured helplessly at the room. "Is this entire restaurant yours? For tonight, yes. I don't like sharing." "Sharing what? The restaurant?" "You." He pulled out my chair, and I sat because my legs wouldn't hold me anymore. "I wanted you to myself. No interruptions, no distractions." A server appeared from nowhere, pouring wine into crystal glasses. Red, dark as blood. "I don't drink much," I said weakly. "Then just sip. But you should taste it. It's from my family's vineyard in Sicily." "Your family makes wine?" "Among other things." His smile was cryptic. "Tell me about your children." The change of subject threw me. "What do you want to know?" "Everything. Their names, their ages, what they like, what makes them laugh." He leaned back in his chair, swirling his wine, eyes never leaving my face. "Tell me about your life, Emma Hayes." So I did. Maybe it was the wine, or the candlelight, or the way he listened like every word mattered. But I found myself talking about Lily's obsession with drawing, how she filled notebook after notebook with pictures of princesses and dragons, about Tommy's quiet nature, how he observed everything but spoke little, still processing his father's abandonment in ways I couldn't reach, about the struggles, the eviction notices, the empty fridge, the nights I'd cried silently in the bathroom so they wouldn't hear. "Their father," Dante said quietly when I paused. "What was his name?" "Marcus Reed." Just saying it made my chest tight. Why? Curious. But there was something sharp in his eyes now, something calculating. And he just left? He got a job offer in California, said he couldn't turn it down, said he needed to focus on his career. I laughed bitterly. 3 months later, I saw on social media he'd married his boss's daughter. Guess that was the better offer. Dante's jaw tightened. His hand clenched around his wine glass hard enough that I worried it might shatter. "Did he ever support you? Send money?" "At first. For about 6 months. Then the payments stopped. I hired a lawyer, but Marcus has good connections now. The lawyer said it would cost more to fight than I'd ever get back." I shrugged, trying to seem casual about the betrayal that had nearly destroyed me. "So I manage." "You shouldn't have to just manage." His voice had gone cold, deadly. "A man who abandons his children deserves..." He cut himself off, but I'd heard enough. "Deserves what?" I leaned forward. "What would you do to him, Dante, if you could?" Our eyes met across the table, in the candlelight. His looked almost black, fathomless and dangerous. "Things that would give you nightmares," he said simply. I should have been afraid. Instead, a dark, shameful part of me thrilled at the idea of Marcus being held accountable, of someone caring enough to want vengeance on my behalf. "Tell me about you," I said, needing to shift the focus. "Your family, your work. My work would bore you. Try me." He studied me for a long moment. "I'm an import-export. Family You move business. goods around the world." "What kind of goods?" "The kind that require discretion." "So you're a criminal?" I expected denial. Instead, he smiled. Yes. The honesty shocked me. Just like that? You admit it? Would you prefer I lied? He took a sip of wine. I could tell you I'm a legitimate businessman, that my money comes from legal enterprises. But you're too smart for that, Emma. You knew what I was the moment I walked into your store. I don't understand why you're telling me this. Because I don't lie to people I'm interested in. He set down his glass. And I'm very interested in you. Why? The question burst out desperately. I'm nobody. I'm a single mother working at a convenience store. What could you possibly want with me? He was silent for so long I thought he wouldn't answer. Then, do you believe in fate, Emma? No. Neither did I. Until 3 weeks ago. He stood, moving around the table toward me. I stayed frozen in my chair as he crouched beside me, bringing us eye level. This close, I could see the scar on his face more clearly, could smell that intoxicating scent of smoke and leather. I went into that store looking for a specific address. A man who owed me money. I was going to kill him. My breath stopped. But then I saw you. Tired. Alone. Trying so hard to be invisible. And something in me. He reached out, cupping my face with one large hand. His palm was warm, rough. Changed. Dante, let me finish. I had my men investigate. I learned about Marcus, about what he did to you, about how he stole money from my organization to fund his new life. His thumb stroked across my cheekbone. He worked for me, Emma, 3 years ago. He was a low-level accountant who thought he was smart enough to skim from my operations. He took $500,000 and disappeared. The room spun. What? The money he used to get that job in California, to impress his new wife's family, it was mine. Stolen from me. From my family. His eyes bored into mine, and now he has something else that belongs to me. I don't belong to you, I whispered. Not yet. His smile was dark, possessive. But you will, Emma. You and your children. Because I'm going to give you something no one else ever has. What? Everything. I pulled away from his touch. Standing so abruptly, my chair scraped against the floor. You're insane. Probably. Dante rose smoothly, unruffled by my reaction. But I'm also right. Sit down, Emma. Finish your dinner. Let me explain. Explain what? That you think you own me because my ex-boyfriend stole from you? My voice was rising, panic clawing up my throat. I didn't know. I had nothing to do with... I know that. His voice cut through my hysteria, calm and certain. You think I haven't had you investigated? I know everything, Emma. Your bank account has $63. Your rent is 4 months overdue. You haven't bought yourself new clothes in 2 years. Everything you have goes to those children. He stepped closer, and I backed up until I hit the window, the city glittering behind me. You're innocent. But Marcus, he destroyed you to save himself. Used you as a shield, probably, assuming I'd never touch a woman with children. And he was wrong? My heart hammered against my ribs. He was wrong. Dante braced his hands on either side of me, caging me in. Not touching, but close enough that I could feel the heat of him, because I don't want to hurt you, Emma. I want to protect you, provide for you, give your children everything they deserve. In exchange for what? You. Simple, direct, terrifying. All of you. I laughed, but it came out broken. You want me to be your... what? Your mistress? Your property? My wife. The world tilted. You're joking. I never joke about business, and this is business, Emma. Marcus took from me. I take from him, his woman, his children, his chance at the life he threw away. His eyes glittered in the candlelight. But it's more than that now. I've watched you for 3 weeks, watched how you love them, how you sacrifice, how you fight. His voice dropped lower, intimate. You're exactly what I've been looking for. You don't even know me. I know enough. I know you're loyal, strong, a good mother, beautiful, though you don't believe it. One hand lifted, fingers ghosting along my jaw. I know you taste like coffee and desperation, and something sweet I can't quite name. You haven't tasted me, I breathed. Not yet. His gaze dropped to my lips, but I will. Soon. I should have slapped him. Should have run. Instead, I stood frozen, caught between terror and something darker. Something that thrilled at his words despite everything. What if I say no? Then I'll wait. Court you properly. Send flowers. Take you on dates. Win your children's trust. His smile was predatory, but we both know how this ends, Emma. You need what I can provide. Safety. Security. A future. And I need... He paused, something raw flickering across his face. I need a family. Something real. Something that can't be bought or threatened or destroyed by my enemies. Your enemies, I repeated faintly. You're asking me to bring my children into a life with enemies. They're already in danger. Living in that neighborhood, in that apartment with locks that don't work and windows that don't close, working yourself to death, leaving them alone. His hand cupped my face fully now. Firm and possessive. At least with me, they'd have protection. Armed guards. Private schools. Everything they need. And what do you get besides revenge against Marcus? A wife who won't betray me, children who will carry my name, a reason to build something beyond violence and blood. His thumb traced my lower lip, and I shivered. You don't understand yet, Emma, but you will. I'm offering you the world. I don't want the world. I want my children safe and happy. Then marry me. Let me make that happen. My head spun. This couldn't be real. Men like him didn't propose to women like me. You're asking me to marry you after one dinner? I'm asking you to consider it. Think about it. Take your month off. Let Marco stay with the children. Let me show you what life could be like. He stepped back finally, giving me space to breathe. I'm not going to force you, Emma. I want you to choose this, but I will persuade you, relentlessly. I pressed my hands against the cool glass behind me, trying to ground myself. And if I still say no after the month? Then I'll let you go. You and the children will be taken care of. A trust fund, a better apartment, whatever you need. No strings. His jaw tightened. But Marcus will still answer for what he did. That's not negotiable. You're going to kill him. Yes. The honesty shouldn't have shocked me anymore, but it did. Even if I ask you not to, even then. He stole from my family. The penalty for that is death. It was decided the moment he took the money. Dante moved back to the table, refilling his wine glass. But his death doesn't have to affect you or the children. They can grieve a father who abandoned them. Or they can forget him entirely. Your choice. I thought of Marcus's face when he'd told me he was leaving. The cold indifference in his eyes when I'd begged him to stay. To think of the baby I was carrying. The way he'd packed his bags while Lily cried. Asking where Daddy was going. I won't mourn him, I said quietly. But I won't celebrate his death either. Fair enough. Dante gestured to the table. Now sit, eat, let me show you what I can offer. Against my better judgment, I sat. The food was incredible. Courses I couldn't name, prepared by chefs I'd never afford. Served on plates that probably cost more than my monthly salary. Dante watched me eat with obvious satisfaction, answering my questions about his businesses. Carefully edited, I was sure. His family in Italy. His life. He told me about his father, who'd built the empire from nothing. His mother, who died when he was 12. His younger sister, Sophia, who lived in Rome, and knew nothing about the darker side of the family business. You protect her, I observed. Always. She's innocent. Pure. Everything I'm not. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Like your children will be, protected from what I do, sheltered. But they'll know what you are, eventually. When they're old enough to understand. To choose. He leaned forward. I won't lie to them, Emma, but I won't expose them to violence either. They'll grow up safe, educated, loved by a man who murders people, by a man who will die before he lets anyone hurt them. The intensity in his voice made me believe him. I meant what I said. I want a family. Something real. And I think you can give me that. Why me? I asked again. You could have anyone. Someone from your world. Someone who understands because you love without conditions. You sacrifice without counting the cost. You're not calculating what you can get from me. You're terrified of what I might take. His eyes softened slightly. That's rare in my world, Emma. Priceless, actually. We finished dinner in relative silence, the weight of everything he'd said hanging between us. When the dessert came, some elaborate chocolate creation, I could barely taste it. Let me take you home, Dante said finally. Think about everything. We'll talk again soon. The ride back was quiet. I stared out the window, watching my neighborhood come back into view, the transition from wealth to poverty stark and sudden. When we pulled up to my building, Dante opened my door himself. Thank you for dinner, I said mechanically. Emma. He caught my hand, pulling me back gently. I meant every word. I'm going to court you, win you, make you mine. He lifted my hand to his lips, pressing a kiss to my knuckles that sent heat straight through me. Sleep well. I practically ran inside. The next morning, I woke to find a dozen white roses outside my door. No card needed. The morning after that, 3 more dozen. My apartment started to look like a funeral home. On the 3rd day, a box arrived. Designer clothes in exactly my size. Dresses, jeans, sweaters, all casual but clearly expensive. A note, you deserve beautiful things. On the 4th day, toys appeared for the children. Educational, age-appropriate, expensive. Lily's eyes lit up at the art supplies. Tommy clutched a stuffed bear that probably cost more than our monthly grocery budget. Who's sending these, Mommy? Lily asked, her little face scrunched in confusion. Friend. Someone Mommy knows. A boyfriend? She giggled. No, baby, just a friend. But Marco, who'd stayed for dinner that night, had smiled knowingly. Mr. Moretti is very generous with people he cares about. He doesn't care about me. He barely knows me. Doesn't he? Marco had helped Tommy with his puzzle. He asks about you every day, what you like, what the children need, how to make you smile. He'd looked at me with those kind eyes. I've worked for the Moretti family for 30 years, Mrs. Hayes. I've never seen him like this, not with anyone. He wants revenge against my ex. Maybe at first, but now? Marco had shaken his head. Now he wants you, and when Mr. Moretti wants something, he gets it. Better to accept it gracefully. I don't want to be owned. He doesn't want to own you. He wants to worship you. There's a difference. I hadn't known how to respond to that. On the 7th day, Dante appeared at my door. I'd been folding laundry, the new clothes he'd sent, because pride didn't keep me in rags, when the knock came. Through the peephole, I saw him standing there in dark jeans and a black sweater, looking somehow more dangerous in casual clothes than in his suits. I opened the door. You can't just show up. Walk with me. Not a question, a command wrapped in velvet. Please. The please softened me. The children. Marco's on his way. He'll be here in 5 minutes. At my look, he smiled. I'm always prepared, Emma. I grabbed my coat, one of the new ones, warm and soft, and followed him outside. We walked to the small park 2 blocks away, the one with broken swings and graffiti-covered benches. In the evening light, with children playing and mothers watching, it almost looked peaceful. I want to show you something, Dante said, leading me to a bench away from the others. He pulled out his phone, scrolling through photos. This is my house, where I live. The images took my breath away. A massive estate, all stone and glass, surrounded by manicured gardens, an infinity pool. Rooms that looked like they belonged in magazines. A library with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves. It's beautiful, I whispered. It's empty. He swiped to another photo. This wing would be for the children. Lily could have the room with the balcony. She could paint out there. Tommy would have the one overlooking the garden. There's a playroom, a study room, space for whatever they need. My throat closed. Dante, this room would be yours. Another swipe. A massive bedroom with a fireplace, a sitting area, windows that overlooked the grounds. Your own space, your sanctuary. No one would enter without your permission. Not even me. Why are you showing me this? Because I want you to see what I'm offering. Not a cage, Emma. A home. A real home. He turned to face me fully. I've spent the last week learning everything about you. Your favorite color is blue. You love old movies but haven't seen one in years. You used to paint before Lily was born, but sold all your supplies to pay bills. You're allergic to strawberries. You cry during commercials with dogs. Heat flooded my face. You've been spying on me. I've been paying attention. There's a difference. His hand found mine on the bench, lacing our fingers together. I want to know everything, Emma. Every dream you've buried, every hope you've given up on, every part of you that's been neglected and forgotten. Why? So I can give it all back to you. His grip tightened. Let me court you properly. Let me take you on dates. Show you things you've never seen. Spoil your children. Prove that I'm serious. And at the end of the month, you decide. Stay or go. But I think you already know what you're going to choose. I pulled my hand away. You're very confident. I'm very determined. There's a difference. He stood, pulling me up with him. Tomorrow night. Dinner again, just us. And I'll tell you everything. The truth about what I do, who I am, what being with me would really mean. No more secrets. Everything. Everything. He stepped closer, his hand coming up to cup my face. I'm going to kiss you now, Emma. If you don't want that, tell me to stop. I should have stopped him. Should have pushed him away. Instead, I tilted my face up, and his lips met mine. The kiss was gentle at first, almost tentative, as if he was afraid I might break. Then I made a small sound. Need, surrender, I didn't know. And he deepened it, his other hand sliding into my hair, angling my head. He tasted like mint and danger, and when his tongue traced my lower lip, I opened for him without thinking. Heat flooded through me, pooling low in my belly. His hand tightened in my hair, possessive, claiming, and I melted into him. When was the last time someone had kissed me like this? Like I was precious and wanted, and... He pulled back, both of us breathing hard. His eyes were molten, dark with hunger. Tomorrow, he said roughly. 7 o'clock. I'll send the car. Then he was walking away, leaving me trembling on the path, my lips swollen and my heart racing. I touched my mouth, still feeling him there. What was I doing? The restaurant the next night was different. Smaller, intimate, tucked away in a corner of the city where old money whispered instead of shouted. Dante was waiting at a corner table, and when he saw me, something in his expression made my stomach flip. I'd worn one of the dresses he'd sent, deep blue, simple but elegant, fitting perfectly in ways my old clothes never had. His eyes traveled over me slowly, appreciatively, and I felt exposed despite being fully covered. Beautiful, he murmured as I sat. That color makes your eyes look like the ocean. You said you'd tell me everything tonight. No preamble, no small talk. I needed answers before I lost myself completely in whatever this was becoming. Direct. I like that. He poured wine for both of us. What do you want to know? Everything. What you really do. How dangerous it is. What being with you would mean for my children. I met his gaze steadily. The truth, Dante, all of it. He was quiet for a long moment, studying me. Then he began to speak. My family has controlled certain industries in this city for 4 generations. Gambling, import-export operations that don't always follow legal channels. We move money, goods, people, whatever needs moving. We settle disputes that can't be settled in courts. We enforce agreements that can't be written on paper. You're the Mafia. We don't use that word, but yes. I'm the head of the Moretti family. When my father died 5 years ago, I took over everything. 300 men answer to me directly, thousands more indirectly. He took a sip of wine. I've killed people, Emma. 12 men personally, many more by order. I've done things that would make you sick if I described them in detail. I should have been horrified. Instead, I found myself asking, why? Why did I kill them? Because they betrayed the family, because they hurt people under my protection. Because in my world, weakness is death, and mercy is seen as weakness. His jaw tightened. I'm not a good man, Emma. I won't pretend to be, but I'm honest about what I am. And Marcus? Marcus worked in our legitimate operations, on paper. He was an accountant, handled clean money. kept the books for our legal businesses. But he got greedy, started skimming. Small amounts at first, then larger. By the time we noticed, he'd taken $500,000 and disappeared. Dante's eyes went cold. He knew what would happen if we caught him. So he ran, started a new life, used my money to buy his way into respectability. And now you found him. I've always known where he was. I was deciding when to move, how to make it count. He leaned forward. Then I met you, and everything changed. Because you saw a better revenge. At first, yes. Take his woman, his children. Show him what he lost. But then, he reached across the table, taking my hand. Then I got to know you, watched you, saw how you loved those children despite everything he'd done, how you kept fighting even when you had every reason to quit. And I realized I didn't want you for revenge anymore. I wanted you for me. My heart hammered. What happens to Marcus? He dies. Soon. But it will be clean, quick, a car accident probably, something his new wife and her family won't question. He'll be mourned as a tragic loss. And you'll be free of him forever. His thumb stroked across my knuckles. The children don't need to know the truth. Let them remember him however they want, or forget him entirely. Your choice. And if I choose you, what does that life look like? You and the children move into my home. We get married, quickly, quietly, or with all the ceremony you want. I adopt Lily and Tommy legally, give them my name, my protection. They grow up safe, educated, wanted. You become my wife in every sense. My partner, my equal, the woman who stands beside me. Your equal? I couldn't help the skepticism in my voice. In your world, are women ever really equal? He smiled slightly. In my world, the wife of the head of the family is second only to him. What you say, my men will obey. What you want, they'll provide. You'll have your own bank accounts, your own money, your own life. I won't cage you, Emma. I'll protect you. And if I want to leave, later, when I realize what I've gotten into, then you leave. I'll divorce you, set you up somewhere safe, make sure you and the children have everything you need. His eyes locked on mine, but I'll never stop wanting you, never stop trying to win you back. And I'll never let anyone hurt you, even if you're no longer mine. The certainty in his voice made something in my chest ache. You can't possibly know that you want this. Want me. You barely know me. I know enough. I know you're the first person in 10 years who's looked at me like I'm a man instead of a monster. I know you don't want my money or my power. You're terrified of both. I know your children make you smile in a way nothing else does. I know you cry in the shower so they won't hear you. His grip tightened. I know you're lonely, Emma, just as lonely as I am, and I think we could be less lonely together. Tears burned behind my eyes. This is insane. Probably. But answer me honestly. Has anyone ever offered you everything? Has anyone ever wanted to give you the world and ask for nothing but you in return? You're asking for more than just me. You're asking me to accept what you do, to look the other way when you kill people, to let my children grow up around violence and crime. I'm asking you to trust me to keep them separate from that life. The children will go to private schools, have normal friends, normal activities. They'll know I'm in business. Import-export, they'll be told. When they're older, they can choose whether to know more. But they'll never see violence, never be exposed to danger. I swear that on my life. How can you promise that? You have enemies. Which is why I have security. Why my home is a fortress. Why anyone who wants to hurt me has to go through 50 armed men first. He pulled out his phone, showing me photos. These are my security team, ex-military, ex-special forces. The best money can buy. Your children would be safer with me than anywhere else in this city. I stared at the images. Hard-faced men with cold eyes. Weapons visible. This would be my life. These would be the people surrounding my children. I need more time, I whispered. You have 3 more weeks, but Emma? He stood, moving around the table to crouch beside my chair. I need you to understand something. I'm not a patient man. I'm not used to waiting. The only reason I'm giving you time is because I want you to come to me willingly. But make no mistake, I've already decided. You're mine. The children are mine. It's just a matter of you accepting it. That's not romantic. That's terrifying. It's honest. He cupped my face. I could lie to you. Court you slowly. Pretend to be something I'm not, but I respect you too much for that, so I'm telling you the truth. I want you. I'm going to have you. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret choosing me. You're insane, I breathed. About you? Yes. He kissed me then, hard and possessive, swallowing my gasp. When he pulled back, we were both breathing hard. Let me take you somewhere. Show you something. Not tonight. This weekend. You, me, and the children. The children? I want them to know me. Trust me. Like me, even. They're part of this too, Emma. If I'm going to be their father, they need to accept me. His eyes softened slightly. Will you let me try? Against every instinct screaming at me to run, I nodded. Saturday arrived cold and bright. The SUV picked us up at 9, and Lily pressed her nose to the window, fascinated by the car's size. Tommy sat on my lap, silent but watchful, his little hand clutching his stuffed bear, the one Dante had sent. We drove for an hour, leaving the city behind, heading into countryside I'd never seen. Finally, we pulled up to a massive gate that opened automatically, revealing a long driveway lined with trees. Where are we? I asked as the house came into view. The same one from the photos, but somehow more impressive in person. Home, Dante said simply. He was waiting at the front door, and my heart stuttered at the sight of him. Jeans, a simple navy sweater, no suit, no intimidation. Just a man who looked almost normal. Almost. Lily, Tommy. He crouched down as we approached, bringing himself to their level. I'm Dante. I'm a friend of your mom's. Thank you for coming to visit me today. Lily, never shy, stepped forward. You have a really big house. I do. Would you like to see inside? I have something special to show you. What? Her eyes lit up. Come with me. He led us through rooms that made me feel like I was in a movie. Marble floors, crystal chandeliers, artwork that was probably worth more than I'd make in several lifetimes. But Lily and Tommy didn't care about any of that. They were focused on Dante, who was pointing out things specifically for them. This is the kitchen. Chef Marco. You know Marco, right? He works here sometimes. He said you both love his pasta. Marco's here? Lily's face brightened. In the garden, setting up lunch. But first I want to show you something upstairs. He led us to the wing he'd shown me in photos, pushed open a door. Lily gasped. The room was every little girl's dream. Painted soft pink, with a canopy bed, shelves full of books and art supplies, a small easel by the window. Her drawings, the ones from our apartment, were framed on the walls. This would be your room, Dante said quietly, if you ever wanted to stay here. You could paint, draw, read, whatever you want. Mine? Her voice was odd. Yours. Tommy tugged on my hand. Mommy, is there one for me? Dante smiled. Of course. Come see. The next room was done in blues and greens, with toys carefully arranged, a small reading nook, and a rocking chair by the window. Tommy's eyes went wide. The bear can sleep here, Dante said, pointing to a small bed clearly meant for stuffed animals. And you can see the garden from this window. There are rabbits sometimes. Rabbits? Tommy whispered. Want to go look? We spent the day there. Dante showed the children every inch of the property. The pool, heated, he assured me. The garden, with actual rabbits, which made Tommy smile for the first time in months. The library, which made Lily gasp and declare she wanted to read every book. He was patient with them, gentle. When Lily asked a million questions, he answered every one. When Tommy was too shy to speak, Dante simply sat with him, pointing out things without demanding response. And he watched me watching them, his eyes knowing. Lunch was on the terrace. Marco had prepared all their favorites, and the children ate like they'd never seen food before, chattering happily. When they ran off to play in the garden afterward, supervised by Marco and two friendly-looking guards, Dante turned to me. What do you think? I think you're trying to buy me. I think I'm showing you what life could be like. There's a difference. He moved closer, backing me against the terrace railing. Look at them, Emma. Really look. I did. Lily was laughing, running through the grass in a sundress Dante had somehow provided. Her size, of course. Tommy was examining a flower with intense concentration, his bear tucked under his arm. They looked happy, lighter, like children instead of small adults burdened with adult worries. "They could have this every day," Dante murmured in my ear, his chest against my back. "Safety, food, education, everything. All you have to do is say yes. It feels like I'm selling myself." "You're not selling anything. You're choosing a better life. For them. For you." His arms came around my waist, and I let myself lean back into him, just for a moment. "I know you're scared. I know this isn't what you imagined for your life. But Emma, what you imagined, struggling alone, working yourself to death, watching your children grow up in poverty, is that really better than this? At least it's honest. This is honest. I'm being completely honest with you. I want you. I want them. I want to build something real. Yes, my money comes from crime. Yes, I've done terrible things, but I've never lied to you, and I never will." I turned in his arms, looking up at him. "What if I can't love you? What if I agree to this, and I never feel anything but fear?" Something flickered in his eyes, vulnerability, quickly hidden. "Then I'll spend every day trying to change that. But Emma, I don't think you're as afraid as you pretend to be. I think you're afraid of wanting this, of wanting me." He was right. God help me, he was right. "One more week," I whispered. "Give me one more week to think. One more week. But then, Emma, because Marcus's time is running out, and I need to know if you're mine before I end his life. Do you understand?" I nodded, my throat tight. He kissed me there on the terrace, with my children's laughter in the background and the sun warm on my face, and I kissed him back. Surrendering, just a little. Accepting, just a bit. Falling. Despite everything, the week passed in a blur of moments I couldn't reconcile with reality. Dante came to our apartment every evening. Not imposing, not demanding, just present. He brought dinner, played with the children, sat with me on the worn couch and talked about everything and nothing. He told me about his childhood in Italy, about learning the family business at his father's knee, about the weight of responsibility that had shaped him into who he was, and I told him things I'd never told anyone, about my own childhood, bouncing between foster homes, about meeting Marcus in college and thinking I'd finally found someone who'd stay, about the devastation of his abandonment, the nights I'd considered giving up entirely, the shame of needing help I couldn't afford. "You're the strongest person I've ever met," he said one night, his hand playing with my hair as we sat together after the children were asleep. "You survived things that would have broken most people. I didn't have a choice. Everyone has a choice. You chose to keep fighting. That's strength, Emma." On Wednesday, he took us to the zoo. Lily rode on his shoulders, pointing at every animal, while Tommy held my hand on one side and Dante's on the other. We looked like a family. We felt like a family. On Thursday, he brought his sister. Sophia Moretti was nothing like I'd expected. Young, maybe 25, with warm brown eyes and an easy smile. She swept into our apartment like a force of nature, immediately dropping to her knees to hug the children. "So you're the famous Lily and Tommy. Dante has told me so much about you." Her English carried a heavy Italian accent, musical and bright. "And you must be Emma. Dio mio, you're even more beautiful than he said." I shot Dante a look. He shrugged, unrepentant. Sophia stayed for hours, teaching Lily Italian words, playing blocks with Tommy, and pulling me aside to whisper, "I have never seen my brother like this. He's different with you, softer. Please, whatever he's done to scare you, give him a chance. Beneath all the darkness, there's a good man. You don't know what he does," I said carefully. "I know enough. I'm not stupid, Emma. I know my family's business isn't all legal. But I also know Dante has protected me my entire life, given me everything, and now he wants to do the same for you." She squeezed my hand. "Let him. You all deserve to be happy." On Friday, Marco pulled me aside while Dante was reading to the children. "Have you decided?" he asked gently. "I don't know. This is all happening so fast. In Mr. Moretti's world, things happen fast. Opportunities don't wait. Enemies don't wait." He paused. "But I've known him since he was a boy, Mrs. Hayes. I've seen him cold, calculating, ruthless. But with you, with those children, he's the man his mother always hoped he'd become. Don't let fear rob you of something real." That night, after everyone had left, Dante lingered at the door. "Tomorrow," he said quietly. "I need your answer tomorrow, Emma. Marcus is in the city for a business meeting. It's the perfect opportunity, but I won't move until I know where we stand. And if I say no," pain flashed across his face, quickly masked, "then I let you go. I take care of Marcus separately. You and the children get your trust fund, your new apartment, and I disappear from your lives. But Emma," he stepped closer, cupping my face, "please don't say no. Please." The vulnerability in his voice nearly broke me. "Tomorrow," I whispered. "I'll give you my answer tomorrow." He kissed me, soft, almost reverent, and left. I didn't sleep that night. I paced the apartment, looked at my sleeping children, thought about everything Dante had offered versus everything I'd be risking. Safety or danger? Poverty or wealth? Loneliness or belonging? By morning, I'd made my decision. The car came at 10. Just Dante this time. No guards, no driver. He drove himself, hands steady on the wheel as we headed out of the city. "Where are we going?" I asked. "Somewhere private. Somewhere we can talk." We drove to a small lake I'd never seen, surrounded by trees turning gold with autumn. He parked and led me to a bench overlooking the water. "I love them," I said before he could speak. "Lily and Tommy. They're my entire world. Everything I do, every choice I make is for them. I know. If I do this, if I say yes, I need promises, real ones, not just words. Anything." I took a shaky breath. "They never see violence. Ever. I don't care what you have to do to keep it separate, but they grow up normal, safe, happy, done. They get to choose their own paths, college, careers, everything. No pressure to join the family business unless they want to when they're adults. Agreed. I get my own money, my own accounts, my own independence. I'm not a prisoner or a possession. Never. You're my partner, Emma. My equal. And if someday I want out, if this doesn't work, if I can't handle it, you let me go. You let us go. No threats, no manipulation." He was quiet for a long moment. Then, "That's the only one I can't promise. I'll never stop you from leaving if that's what you truly want. But I'll never stop fighting to win you back either. I'll never stop loving you. You can't love me. You barely know me. I know enough. And I'll spend the rest of my life learning more." He took my hands. "Is that a yes, Emma? Are you choosing me? Choosing us?" I thought of Lily's face lighting up when she saw her room, of Tommy smiling at the rabbits, of Marco's gentle care and Sophia's warmth, of every moment this week when Dante had been patient, kind, present, everything Marcus had never been. I thought of the alternative, going back to the convenience store, the constant fear, the exhaustion. Watching my children grow up with nothing because I was too proud to accept help. "Yes," I whispered. "But Dante, if you ever hurt them, if you ever let anything happen to them, I won't. I swear on my life, on my family's name, on everything I am. I will protect them with my last breath." He pulled me into his arms, holding me so tight I could barely breathe. "Thank you. Thank you for trusting me. I'm terrified," I admitted against his chest. "I know. But I've got you. I've got all of you, and I'm never letting go." We sat there for a long time, watching the water, his arms around me. Finally, he pulled back. "There's something I need to do today, something you don't need to see or know about. Can you take the children to my house? Marco and Sophia are waiting there. Stay the night. When I come back tomorrow, it'll be done. Marcus will be gone and we can start our life together." My throat closed. You're doing it today. Yes. While he's in the city. While the opportunity is perfect. It'll look like an accident. A car malfunction. Brake failure. His wife will get life insurance. His family will mourn. And you'll be free. I don't want to know the details. You won't. But Emma, I need you to understand. This isn't just revenge anymore. This is protection. As long as Marcus is alive, he's a threat. He knows about my business. He could use you and the children as leverage if he ever found out about us. I'm removing that threat permanently. I nodded, unable to speak. Say the word and I'll stop. I'll find another way. Lock him up, scare him into running, something. But he'll always be out there. Always be a shadow. I thought of Marcus's face when he'd packed his bags. The coldness when he'd said he was leaving. The years of silence, of abandonment, of choosing his new life over his children. Do what you have to do, I said quietly. Just come back to us, always. He kissed me, hard and deep. Take the children somewhere happy today. Let them play, and tomorrow, when you wake up in your new home, everything will be different. The house was full of laughter when we arrived. Sophia had brought friends, nice women who played with the children and didn't ask questions. Marco cooked an enormous dinner. Lily painted in her new room. Tommy fell asleep in the library, surrounded by books. I tried to enjoy it, tried to be present, but part of me was somewhere else. With Dante. Wondering what he was doing, if it was done. If Marcus was... My phone buzzed at midnight. It's finished. He's gone. Sleep well, amore mio. Tomorrow, we start forever. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I deleted it, climbed into the massive bed in what was now my room, and cried. Not for Marcus. I'd mourned him years ago, but for the girl I'd been, the one who'd believed in fairy tales and happy endings. That girl was gone. In her place was a woman who'd chosen survival, protection, a dangerous man's devotion. I'd chosen Dante Moretti. For better or worse, I was his now. The wedding happened 2 weeks later. Small, private, just Sophia, Marco, a judge Dante knew, and the children. I wore a simple white dress Dante had commissioned, perfectly tailored, elegant, without being ostentatious. Lily wore pink and carried flowers. Tommy, in a tiny suit, held the rings. Do you take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife? The judge asked. Dante's eyes never left mine. I do. For as long as she'll have me, and longer if she'll let me. And do you take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? I looked at this man who'd upended my entire world, who'd killed for me, who'd promised me everything and demanded only that I stay. I do. The kiss was soft, reverent, and when we pulled apart, Lily cheered and Tommy clapped. Sophia cried happy tears. Marco smiled like he'd known all along how this would end. That night, in the massive master bedroom, Dante held me close. Regrets? He murmured against my hair. Ask me in 20 years. I'll spend every day of those 20 years making sure the answer is no. He tilted my face up, his thumb tracing my cheekbone. I love you, Emma Moretti. I'll love you until I stop breathing. I don't love you yet, I said honestly, but I think I could. Someday. Then I'll wait, however long it takes. He kissed me again, and this time it deepened, became something more. But tonight, let me show you how much I want you, how much I need you. Let me prove I'm worth the risk, and I did. I let him worship me, touch me, make me feel things I'd never felt before. When he moved inside me, his eyes locked on mine, I felt something crack open in my chest. Not love, not yet, but the beginning of it. The possibility. Afterward, wrapped in expensive sheets with my husband's arms around me, I thought about the future, about Lily and Tommy growing up in this house, safe and loved, about becoming the woman who stood beside Dante Moretti, who shared his life, if not all his secrets. It wasn't the life I'd imagined. It was dangerous, unconventional, built on blood and money and a mafia boss's obsession. But it was ours. 6 months later, I woke to the smell of pancakes and the sound of children's laughter. Sliding out of bed, I pulled on a robe and padded downstairs to find chaos in the kitchen. Dante stood at the stove, flour in his dark hair, trying to flip pancakes while Lily helped, by dumping in chocolate chips. Tommy sat on the counter, systematically eating berries from a bowl, and Marco was laughing at the disaster zone spreading across the marble counters. "Mommy!" Lily spotted me. "Daddy's making breakfast." Daddy. She'd started calling him that a month ago, and every time she did, something in Dante's eyes softened. He looked up, meeting my gaze across the kitchen, and smiled. That real smile he only showed us. "Morning, beautiful. Coffee's ready." I moved into his arms, letting him kiss me while the children made exaggerated gagging sounds. His hand splayed across my still flat stomach, protective and possessive. "How are you feeling?" he murmured against my lips. "Good. The morning sickness is better." We hadn't told the children yet. At 3 months pregnant, I was still processing the reality of bringing Dante's child into this world. But when I'd seen the test, seen his face light up with pure joy, I'd known it was right. "Sit," he ordered gently. "Eat. You need to keep your strength up." I sat at the table, our table, in our home, with our children, and watched this man who'd terrified me 6 months ago serve breakfast with the careful attention of someone handling something precious. "I love you," I said suddenly. He froze, pancake suspended midair. "What?" "I love you." I should have said it before, but I was scared. "But Dante, I love you. I love this life. I love what you've given us." He set down the spatula, crossed to me in 3 strides, and kissed me so thoroughly that Lily shouted, "Gross!" and Tommy hid his eyes. "Say it again," he demanded roughly. "I love you." Again. "I love you, Dante Moretti." His forehead pressed to mine. I have waited 6 months to hear those words. 6 months of hoping, praying, working to earn them. "You earned them." I cupped his face. "You've given me everything. Safety, security, a home, a family. You've been patient and kind and completely, obsessively, possessively in love with you," he finished. "Say you'll never leave. Promise me." "I promise. Where would I go? You ruined me for normal men." He laughed, the sound rich and free. "Good. You're mine. Forever." "Forever," I agreed. Later that night, after the children were asleep and we lay tangled together in our bed, I thought about how far we'd come from that first night in the convenience store, a desperate single mother and a dangerous man, to this, to love, to family, to a future I'd never dreamed possible. "What are you thinking?" Dante asked, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on my hip. "That you were right. That night at the lake, you said you'd spend your life making sure I never regretted choosing you. And you have. Every single day." I kissed him softly. "Thank you for not giving up on me, on us. Never. From the moment I saw you, Emma, you were mine. It was just a matter of you realizing it." His hand slid to my stomach again. "Now we're building something that no one can take away. A family. A legacy. Something real. Something good," I added. "Despite everything, despite how it started. This is good. The best thing I've ever done." He pulled me closer. "Tomorrow, sleep, we start planning the nursery. I'm thinking, let me guess. You've already had it designed. 3 different options, actually. I wanted you to choose." I laughed, shaking my head. "You're impossible. I'm in love. There's a difference." As I drifted off to sleep, safe in his arms, with our children sleeping down the hall and our future growing inside me, I realized something fundamental had changed. I wasn't afraid anymore. I wasn't alone. I wasn't that desperate woman who'd begged a dangerous man to take her children. I was Emma Moretti, wife, mother, partner to a man who'd burn the world down to keep us safe, and I wouldn't change a single thing.